Hi, and welcome back to Inspiring Possibilities, the courage to jump in. I'm your host, Michelle Cameron Coulter, MC squared for short. I'm an Olympic gold medalist, TEDx speaker, and passionate advocate for sustained performance, mental wellness, and helping people reconnect with their true potential. Today's guest is the incredible Susanne Goldstein, consciousness architect, executive coach, and founder of Better Human, and creator of Energy OS. Susanne has spent decades helping leaders upgrade their internal operating systems in real time, teaching people how to interrupt unconscious patterns, regulate their energy, and become more intentional in the moments that matter the most. In this conversation, we explore conscious choice, emotional healing, and nervous system awareness. As well, Susanne has a powerful millisecond technique that we literally practiced and I took on as we were playing in the podcast. It's a simple but transformative practice that helps people pause before reacting and begin creating lasting change. We also dive into one of the most powerful lines of this episode. Healed people don't harm people. This conversation is so thoughtful, practical, and deeply powerful. We could have spoke for hours. So take a breath, lean in, and let's jump in. We're going to just dive in. This is how the conversation is so fun.
I'm excited because I was looking on your podcast and I was like, oh, I know her and I know him and I know her. And it was like a lot of people who were part of the auction that we did for Kim.
Yeah.
Yeah, so very fun.
Which is so cool because that's how I've met so many people. Now I'm just like having fun catching up with getting all the podcasts. All of a sudden it's so many, but I get to meet all these incredible people from all over. And I have to say, and we're literally jumping in right now because Suzanne, like
Yeah,
I
let's do it.
love your energy. Like when I look at your site and all the things I see about you, I just love the energy that you project. Like you can
Thank
just see
you.
it come through. And so I'm like, I'm so excited to meet her. And then I was reading about you and I'm like, okay, she's a rock star, this woman. You've done a lot. And it's like when I was reading things like brings over decades of experience helping leaders. I'm going, she is not old enough to do three. And then I go, wait a minute, I've been doing this 3 decades too. So we must be doing something right.
I love it. Oh my God,
Yeah.
that's hilarious.
Well, I'll share a little bit more and then we're actually in it now. I'll say we'll dive in because I love all the pre stuff. It's to me,
Just
it's
let me ask you quickly, where are you
sure.
located?
I'm in Calgary, Canada, where right now, and hopefully when this broadcasts, it looks a little different. But we had a blizzard last night, and it's like this much snow.
Oh my
And
gosh.
yeah, it's crazy. So I think Boston can get weather like that. I'm not sure, but
It
yeah. And
didn't
then
this year, but it can.
it's gonna be, sweatshirt weather on the weekend. So it's like we do April snow brings May flowers. I don't know.
Well, my birthday's in April, and it usually, in many past years of my childhood, it snowed on my birthday. So
Oh,
I'm
really?
really
Well,
happy
there
it
we
didn't
go.
snow this year,
What date's your birthday?
the 10th.
Okay. What date are? Oh, so it just was. I don't even know what. Yeah. So happy
Yeah.
belated birthday.
Well, more importantly, I hosted a surprise engagement party for my adopted daughter, and she said yes. And that's so they borrowed my birthday weekend. It was great.
Oh, how special. I love how you said adopted daughter. I come from a blended family and we call it a bonus sibling. So bonus,
Well,
like
she can't be my bonus daughter because I don't actually have daughters, but I guess I could call her my bonus daughter anyway.
yeah.
But I have a
I,
bunch of bonus kids.
oh, that's so good. Well, we'll
Yeah,
dive into all that. I'm going to share a
do
little
it.
bit more of your background. And then really what I love is to understand your story of where you got where you are, and then some of the biggest things you want to share. So Suzanne,
Suzanne, yep.
I know it's my middle name's Anne, so and it's Anne. So there we go. You're a conscious architect, executive coach, and founder of Better Human. I can't wait to dive into that work. You help people upgrade their internal operating systems in real time. And I would love to play with that a little bit in real time because our internal operating systems, how we do everything. And so that awareness of it and that we can actually do something in real time, like, so I want to play a bit with that. And your methodology is the energy OS. So we'll dive into that. So she teaches how to interrupt automatic behavior and choose differently in the moment that matters the most. So I'm going to guess that's when we're under pressure, when things are not going the way we thought they were going to go, or real life expecting the unexpected. You were also a former Hollywood producer in Silicon Valley, and then you taught at Harvard. So, and that's just probably a little bit of a stamp of some of the things you've done. So we get to dive right in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So happy to have
Thank
you
you
here.
so much, Michelle, for having me. I'm really excited about this conversation because the free form ones are always just like delicious. You never know where you're going to end up.
Yeah. And you know what? That in itself, like being able to let go and do that is that's why I always say when everyone comes on here, it's like we're having a coffee and we get to know each other. And then therefore everyone gets to, it's like the real conversations, right? So
Yeah,
I
I love
I
it.
I'd love to hear your story of how you got to where you are. Like share a little bit of your journey and then we'll dive into some of your work.
Yeah, always so hard, right? And you get to a certain place where you've done everything almost twice, or almost everything twice.
Well, and why is that? Because we feel like we need to keep learning, right?
The learning and the just the living, right?
Yeah.
I am not a person who's going to step into a job and 53 years later just say, okay, I'm retiring now. I've been reinventing myself my whole life. What
Mm.
I say is I help people upgrade their life like you upgrade your phone.
Oh, I
And
love that.
so thank you. My background is that I came from a very high performing family. I went to engineering school because my family wanted me to, but I went to theater and film school because I wanted to. So I got both
Ooh.
degrees at the same time.
What a beautiful combination. Engineering, which is so structured in that creativity, free forming. Good for you. Like that's huge.
Thank you. And then when I got out of university, and I know it's weird to start that far back, but it matters to me. I wanted to work in professional theater in London, and I didn't know anybody, and this is pre-internet, pre-email, pre-everything. And so I moved to London, and I showed up at the door of the National Theater with a backpack that had in it an analysis of an Arthur Miller play, and some drawings I had done from a solar engineering class where I had to like draft things. And I went up to the ladies behind the desk and I was like, hi, I'm Susanne Goldstein and I would like to work here at the National Theater. Do you have someone who'd be willing to talk to me? And they looked at me like I was insane and said, well, we're rather busy right now. Would you mind coming back another time? And I said, well, if you don't mind, I'm going to wait. And so I sat there in the lobby and I started reading pamphlets, and the end of the day came, and the lady behind the desk said, sorry, we couldn't have a chance to get to you. And I said, don't worry. And I
I'll
came
be
back the
back.
next day.
How did I
And
know?
every day for 8 straight days,
Wow.
working days, I went to the National Theater's backstage lobby and I befriended the ladies behind the desk and I brought them tea and sweets. And I asked them when people would come out of these big double doors, I'd say, who is that? Who is that? And I was seeing these luminaries from the theater world in London walking by and directors and producers and I just kept saying kindly like think anybody will meet with me today, think anybody will meet with me today. And on the 8th day, what I call my Hanukkah miracle, someone said they'd be willing to talk to me, and it turns out he was in charge of their experimental stage and he needed someone who understood theater and understood mechanical drafting,
Oh my
and
God.
I got hired on the spot.
Oh
And
my God.
at that point in time, I hadn't named what I did, but what I ended up naming it later is called carrying a paintbrush. And the idea is that everywhere you go, anytime you want to meet something, do something or meet someone, you take out your imaginary bucket of paint and a paintbrush, you paint a doorway, you paint the doorknob, and then you open the door and create opportunities for something lucky to happen. That's what I had done when I was in London. And I had continued to do it my entire life till I wrote a book about it in 2010 called Carry a Paintbrush, funny enough, How
Oh
to Be
my
the
God.
Artistic Director of Your Own Career. It's a life book disguised as a career book. And it really was the beginning of me creating tools and frameworks and codes that I helped install in myself so I could navigate life easier. I had a very complex background. I've suffered through many kinds of abuse. I have had to go through my own complex PTSD and chronic depression healing journey. Um, 1.5 suicide attempts,
Wow.
I've been
Okay.
through a lot, and I
There,
seem like I'm not like that person. So
well,
I,
and I just want to pause for a second and rewind because you're sharing so many incredible gems here and very vulnerable journey that and I want to rewind just a tiny bit when you said something about and like I loved how you painted the door with the doorknob to step in and you said something about luck
yeah,
and
you open the door and create opportunities for lucky things to happen.
for lucky things to happen. And I think lucky things, because there was another formula, which is probably in your book somewhere, I'm going to guess, is that tenacity and knowingness. Like you could have left after day one. Like lucky things happen because you stood the course and you were tenacious and you stayed there and you figured it out in a way that was playful. It's like, does anybody else like the way you share it? It's just like it wasn't a determination of like, damn it, I'm going to get this. It was just like I'm just curious of the energy because when I've heard the luck, because people can go, and there is some synchronicities, which I think are maybe classified as luck. Um, it's our willingness to sit through the uncomfortable, like because it could have been uncomfortable, like going back 8 times, 8 days in a
Yeah,
row. Like so take me to that because that is part of the essence. Because people think I'm just going to manifest, I'm going to do the thing, and the thing's going to happen, and not understanding that they're still stepping into being courageous. That's why I call it inspiring possibilities, the courage to keep jumping in. And then that's when
yeah,
the luck. That's when
yeah. I
that's the
love
thing.
I love Oprah's definition of luck. She says luck is when hard work meets opportunity.
Hmm.
And I think that's great because the opportunity is the thing we don't know. We're trying to manifest opportunities all the time, which is why I created the door that you get to paint and open. But I think that I would not necessarily call it tenacity as much as I would call it sticking to my vision. Like I had
Oh,
a
that's so good.
vision that I was going to work at the National Theater, and I
Mhm.
believed that vision. I trusted that vision. And did I have any good reason? No, because I was on a student visa and I was trying to find myself a job. And I knew I wanted to work there. And I knew I could probably get a job at a fringe theater. And that's not what my vision was. My vision was I wanted to work at the best theater in the world.
So good. Well, so then it goes to almost this conviction and knowingness, like there's no stopping. It's like that kind of 2-year-old that you say no and they don't even have any idea what that means because they just want that thing and they're going to go for it. So
Yeah.
this like how powerful that vision is to have and that almost knowingness. Like I want to invite everyone in here that's listening to like imagine a time because you can probably think of a time where you were so certain you were going to do this thing, you made it happen. You go, what was that? That what was the formula that allowed me or that paved the way to me actually doing the thing that I was so certain of. And everybody's like we've all had those at some point,
Yeah.
but you keep now you've figured out how to access that.
Yeah. I have, and I can teach it. That's the fun
That's
part.
that's so cool. So I just wanted to rewind to that because I think it's so
Yeah.
important. Um, and then let's go back to where you were because you were saying you've gone through some tough stuff. Like, and I'm not brushing over this at all because that was a huge, like a 1.5 times of feeling like I don't want to be here anymore. Like, and so I can only imagine that that was a catalyst to really why you're doing what you do. And I really want to know what helped you get past that because I keep hearing crazy stats and I get it when we go on the roller coaster and we hit that down point that it's like, how do I even get out of here? I don't even know if I want to try to get out of here anymore. Like, how do we get out of that place? Like, and there's more and more stories of hearing people getting into that place that we get to shift that. This is one of my hopes of what we're doing with these conversations is that hope of possibilities. Like, how
Yeah.
do we shift that around? So, what were some of the things, like maybe if you're okay taking us there and what helped you
Yeah.
get out?
Yeah. I know for a lot of people being vulnerable is really hard, and for me, it is not.
Because
And the
you're in a
reason,
really healed place. This is your work. This is why
that's right.
you can go there, right?
Yeah. I'm the evidence, right? There is no heat around
Mm,
any of my stories anymore.
mm. Oh, that's such a beautiful way to say. That's like almost like this clean energy of like understanding and then being able to be like this. It's like a clear, like it's
Yeah.
like clear. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, when I tell my awakening journey, I usually start here. I say, when I was 27 years old, two big things happened to me. One is that I produced my first movie for Disney, and the
What? That's cool.
and the second is that I threw a chair at an ex-boyfriend, and I'm not proud of that moment.
Mm,
And I was at this precipice at 27, where up until that point, and even after it for a while, I was pursuing life from a deep masculine energy hustle culture kind of way. I was taught about success. I was taught about drive. I was taught about money. I was taught about all of this stuff that you're supposed to do in a masculine energy world to survive. But I did not get any of the feminine loving energy, but I was a feminine loving human. And
mm,
so I grew up very emotional in a place that didn't know how to process emotions very well.
mm.
So when I was 27, my temper came out. I threw the chair because I'd been bottling and bottling and bottling. And sure, my temper would come out every now and again, but it was not choice. It was pure brain reaction to the what was happening around me. And I realized at that moment that I could very easily become what I called one of those people. And in those days, 27 years old, one of those people was a Hollywood drama queen.
Mm,
And I did not want to become a Hollywood drama queen. And so I decided that I needed to change my life. And so New Year's Eve came that year. And normally I would do something like, I want to lose 10 pounds or something just like trivial and ridiculous. And this one year, and I have no idea where I came up with this idea because this is a long time ago. I'm now 62. So when I was 27, it was pretty long ago. And um, I looked at myself and I said, what do I need to change? How do I want to change it? And I decided to give myself a theme for the year. I said,
mm,
we're going to give you 12 months of your life to try to change. I'm not going to judge you if you're not done in week one. I want you to give 12 months. And here's what you're going to tell yourself. You are going to say to yourself to only be dramatic when drama is necessary. And so I gave myself this like litmus test that I could, anytime something was coming at me, I could go, is this a time for drama? It was like having an unknown pack of cigarettes in my back pocket. You know what I mean? And it was crazy. And at first, I will be honest, the first like 2 or 3 months of the year, I didn't even remember I had a theme. That's how oblivious I was. And then my birthday came around in April, and I was like, well, hey, wait a sec. You told yourself you were going to work on yourself this year. You better get going. It's already April. And so I started really observing my life. And what I noticed, and this is something I was never taught, and honestly, most people are never taught this in their entire life. It doesn't matter if you're 100, is that when a stimulus comes at us, we can actually catch that stimulus before it does anything to us or we allow ourselves to do anything to it. We can catch that stimulus. And for those of you who are listening, I now have my hands in a V with my palm, the heels of my palms touching together. And when we catch that stimulus, we then can look at it and we can decide, do I want to do what I normally do, which is react, or do I want to become intentional and choose to respond?
mm,
So I noticed this concept no one had taught me. Like, to me, my emotions were emotions. I was very proud of how emotional I was. I feel more than you up and I feel more than you down. I thought, oh, I get it. No, I didn't understand that emotions could actually be stable, because
mm,
to me it was up and down all the time. So I started noticing there's this thing I can choose. What do you mean I can choose how I am? I can choose how I want to respond to this. I don't have to throw the chair. Over time, I got better at it.
Mm.
Over time, it became part of my person. And over time, I got rid of my temper. And by the end of that year, my temper was gone. And I named this the millisecond technique.
Oh, I
And
love
the
it.
idea is that anyone can practice this technique. And in the Better Human app, which I'm sure we'll get to, the first code that everybody learns is the millisecond technique because it is the foundation of choice. And I often say to people, I deal in the currency of choice. That's it.
Oh, oh, I love that. Ideal in the currency of choice because that is so life. Like when we realize that we have choice and we pause long enough to be aware and even notice instead of being, because I know you have heard this too, when emotions go up, our intelligence goes out the door. So we can't even think, we can't even process at that time fast enough. So I love the actual um, physically doing something like grabbing it and seeing, and it's more than just visualizing. You're actually physically doing something that I think even heightens the potency of what you're doing.
Yeah, and what's cool is there's one piece that I haven't shown you yet. In the millisecond technique, again, you have your hands in a V with your palm, the heel of your palms touching. This millisecond, this moment in time, it's just an instant. Like that person just cut you off in traffic, and most of us will be like on the horn, or what
Mhm.
did you do, or give them the finger, or whatever we do, right? But if instead you actually could expand time. Now, we know from physics and quantum physics that time is fungible, that it can be changing. You know that when you were in high school and it was 5 minutes to the bell, those 5 minutes are the longest minutes of your life. And you know when you're at the airport saying goodbye to a loved one, that is the fastest 5 minutes of your life. We
Mhm.
know time is fungible. So if when that stimulus comes at you, use the word pause, I say expand time. Give yourself more space in the millisecond so you can become choiceful.
Mm.
And once you understand that, every situation in your life becomes choice. And when everything becomes choice, you can start changing how you're being, how you're behaving, how you perceive things, how when you have victim glasses on and when you don't, when it's time to what I call give a friend to goodwill because they're no longer energetically good for you. Like there's so
Mm.
much you can do once you
Whoa, whoa,
understand
that
that.
was good. Okay, you keep dropping these really good ones. Give a friend to Goodwill. It's like, okay, you can still love them, but that's a lot of energy to like notice what your energy is when things are happening in that situation, right? So
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, we call it Energy OS because it's an energy operating system. At the end of the day, your consciousness is energy, your emotions are energy, your right actions are energy, everything's energy. So the energy operating system is made up of the millisecond technique plus 125 other codes that I have developed over the years. And what I do is I help people install these codes into their preconscious mind. So let me ask you this, Michelle. If I said to you, what's your phone number? You'd probably say, ba da 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 da, right?
Yeah.
That's your phone
Yeah.
number. If I said to you, Michelle, what's your passport number? You'd say,
WS something something 37.
you know more than most people. Most people
Well,
will
it's
answer
just
it
because
by
I just
saying,
used it and I don't remember it all either.
right. So most people will say, I need to go in the other room, get my passport, and I'll let you know what my passport number is. Why? Why did we store one number and not the other number in our preconscious mind?
Long-term overuse. I don't know. It's like I still remember the house number that I grew up with, like, but I don't know my daughter's cell number. Like,
Yeah.
right?
And these days we don't need to memorize numbers except for our
Yes, so
own.
we don't use that anymore.
No, but what we can do is there's all this space in your preconscious mind. It's the space in between unconsciousness and consciousness. All the research shows us that about 95 to 97% of human behavior comes from the unconscious mind. That's why
Mm,
when someone cuts you off in traffic or someone gives you stink eye, you feel a certain way inside, right? But if we can pause in that millisecond and install a code, for instance, we have a code called it's sometimes time to give a friend a goodwill. So
mm,
what happens? I'm in a situation and I'm meeting with someone who asked me if I could go grab coffee with them. And you're kind of not wanting to go and you're wishing it will cancel because you know when you're with this person, there's an energy leak. There's a vampire feeling where she's sucking or he's sucking the energy out of you. So you go this last time and you're like, I really should. We've been friends for 40 years. Like, let me show up. And you go to the coffee and you end up coming home from the coffee going, it was fine, but it's not a plus two kind of conversation. It's not something
mm.
that gives you energy. And so at a certain point, you have to ask yourself, is the amount of time that I'm dedicating to this person the best use of my only 100 units of energy a day?
Oh.
And when you give a friend to Goodwill, it doesn't mean you don't love them. It's kind of like that sweater. You know that sweater you had? I'm sure you had one. I had one. I would wear this sweater when I wanted to feel sexy, when I wanted to feel cozy, when I wanted to feel sporty. Like this was the sweater for everything. And at some point, the sweater started making its way to the back of the closet. And you're like, one day you notice it, and you're like, oh yeah, that sweater. I used to love that sweater. And you go put it on and it doesn't really fit you very well anymore. It's kind of stretched out and boxy and whatever. And you're like, you know what? I think I'm going to give this sweater to Goodwill, because you know someone will fall in love with that sweater and love it as much as you did. And they will be so happy and feel sexy and sporty and cool when they're in that sweater. So you're doing a service by allowing that energy to go circulate. And meanwhile, you're taking your 100 units of energy and utilizing it the way you choose to.
Oh, that is so powerful. I love that you shared that through a story. And then the thing that was popping in my head, because some relationships that there's guilt attached if you really, so how you let go of that guilt around it, because sometimes those relationships are closer, like family. You can still love them. And like, how do you do that without, it, because you want the best for that friend that you've known for 40 years. So it's an interesting balance. I would guess it's an awareness again of that energy. I want to talk about, you said the 100 units of energy. My oldest daughter, who, okay, I need to tell you, like, she's a high school teacher, which is amazing now. And she played on our national team. She played, all my kids play volleyball. And when she was in grade 6, I remember I was having a tough day and she said to me, Mommy, remember, the energy you put out is the environment you create. She said that to me.
Wow.
I know, right? So she's a born teacher, this one, I'm telling you. But in that moment, it just kind of like, because I wasn't in a good energy at that point at all. And so it's not only the energy we put out as the environment we create, with the energy that we actually have inside of us. And so I just wanted to expand on this a little bit, because it was the first time I heard of like 100 units of energy. And her fiance, they'll be like, okay, I'm at this today and you're there. So I just need you to know this is where I am. So I might not be as available as you need me for this, or vice versa. I thought, oh my God, that's so brilliant. Understanding
Yeah.
where your energy is and then taking the time to fill that energy cup up, if or not putting ourselves in situations that are going to tax beyond our capacity at that moment. Right.
Yeah, and I just want
So,
to add that there's two kinds of energy.
mhm.
So, and I want for if the listeners don't know the two kinds of energy, it's just a really fun thing to contemplate. So there's energy which is I'm excited, awake, or I'm tired and ready to go to bed, right? And there's all of the energies in between those times. But
Mhm.
there's also the energetics of it. And what I mean by the energetics of it is energy has twins, a masculine flame and a feminine flame, and they work together beautifully. If you've ever seen someone ballroom dance, right? In general, the man is holding the frame, and so that he could send out the woman and she could spin like a top and be creative and flowy. That that dance, the ballroom dance, is masculine and feminine energy incarnate. It's
Beautiful.
absolutely the best way to see it, right? That beautiful structured frame that's showy and like that. And then, the feminine, which is mysterious and dark and twirls, and it's so beautiful. So I took that idea and I made it into a concept I called strategetics. And
Strategy.
strategetics is the strategy of your energy and the energetics of your strategy.
Ooh,
So this is the
interesting.
two energies I'm talking about. So the energetics, the strategy of your energy is, how am I using those 100 units a day? Who am I giving them to? Where am I getting refed? Where am I getting refueled? Where's the conversation draining me? Where's the conversation lifting me? But the other is also true. So if I'm in my masculine energy and I'm ready to go into a meeting and I'm about to present something big and I'm walking into the meeting, this literally happened to a client of mine. I'm walking into the meeting and the client gets a text and it says, I've decided, this is from the boss, I've decided I'm going to do the presentation today. Okay, so she's walking in her masculine, beautiful, powerful masculine energy, ready to present. She now gets this message that says, by the way, I'm going to do the presenting, the guy. And what does she feel inside? She feels like she wants to die. What just happened? Why is my power being taken away? Why did all this stuff, right? Well, if she wants to walk into that room in her toxic masculine energy and go, why the hell, blah, 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 she could do that. She could walk in extremely upset masculine energy and pout. She could go into neediness, which is the wounded feminine, or she could work with herself, switch up her energy, and choose who she wants to be as she walks into that room. And she could choose, I'm going to walk in my fierce feminine power. And since he's taking away me being able to give the presentation, I'm going to add commentary, even though I haven't been asked to. And you take back your power in that moment.
I love that. You just integrated this. Okay,
The millisecond technique.
The millisecond, just taking that millisecond, holding, like noticing, like that was what a beautiful example, because we could see ourselves in each one of those scenarios and then taking that millisecond to say, okay, now how do I want to, was it structure
the strategy of your energy
strategy of your energy
and the energetics of your strategy.
Okay, so good. That's beautiful. Because
So that's
so
a code
easy.
called strategetics.
Strategetics. I love it. And you have like 100 different codes or things that you've created from there. This is so beautiful and so applicable. Like when we're talking about being able to do it in the moment, there is a perfect example of being able to do it in the moment.
Yeah.
When did you start developing all this? Like you were talking about 27, having done, and you breezed over that, done your first movie with Disney, hello, at 27. And then this happened at the same time, because there's obviously the drive and that commitment and that knowingness that got you to that place. And I do think it's some tenacity, but there's a knowingness, probably that's what I want to do. I want to do that thing.
I think in an aggressive way, tenacity is right.
Okay. Okay, interesting. And then I know because you touched on it, and if you're okay, I just want to go there for a second. When you were in that darkest place, how you got out of that to then start to create all the amazingness that you're doing. Like I'm going to think that was birthed from being in that place.
Yeah, it was.
I don't want to assume that. But what do you
Yeah,
think was the catalyst that got you there, and then to get out to now do really the life's work that you're doing right now?
So anybody who thinks that this happened quickly to me would be wrong.
That's why this is so important, because people think, oh, just all medicine, you get it. It's magical. What's wrong with me? Because I'm not getting it. It's like, it's really the life's journey. And that's why this is so important to understand that, and why I talk about that courageous journey and sharing that, because that's what's going to help so many people, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, look, I'll be honest. From 27 until 40, I moved into the .com world at the beginning of the .com world, and I was involved in over 100 startup companies in Silicon Valley.
Wow.
And I was a software architect. It was really crazy. My background in engineering and my background in storytelling came together in this new thing called the web. And I got very lucky, and I was quite sought after as a software architect, and that was really fun for a while, until I was in a meeting. I was probably 31 at this point. I was in a meeting with 20 guys and me. We were building this huge web portal for some of the big telecom companies. And I was the lead architect on it. And it was my first web project ever. And I'm an empowered human. And so if I need to ask a question, I'm going to ask the question. And I had been involved with this group for a little while, so I kind of knew what was going on, but I'm talking pre-blink tag on the internet. So like, the internet back then was text and pictures and not even a blink tag. And I asked a question about how something worked, because I had to architect it. And the guy, excuse me, is it okay if I swear on your show?
Yeah, go for it.
The guy says to me, "You are the stupidest fucking person I've ever met in my life."
Wow.
And the other 19 guys in the room agreed.
Oh my God.
And I walked out and I quit my job. And what I noticed is, over the years, the universe has given me opportunity on top of opportunity on top of opportunity to learn hard lessons. And my commitment is if it took me 40 years to heal, or however many it's been, 30 something, I want to teach people how to do it in 2 years or less.
Mm.
And that's why I'm building Better Human, because I'm taking everything I use to heal myself. I've spent the past 15 years testing all the codes on other people, having huge transformation and success for them. And now we're bringing it together in software so people can actually guide themselves through the wake up process, through the being able to really understand their own identity, because what we call our platform is literally behavior change technology. No one else is solving the problem we're solving, which is that a lot of us study, we get insight, we get understanding, but understanding doesn't get you to change your behavior.
You still got to move through it. You still got to do the thing, right?
Right.
So this is brilliant because it's your engineering background, your creativity, but it's also like you said, we can think about it, we can analyze like how many of us have, shelf help. Like there's so many books. It's like until you implement and move through the thing. So I just want to touch on that a little bit more too, is like that moment that shifted so much for you, like just taking that to like that was some a-hole that said that in that moment, not even realizing what impact that had on you. Like how often are we in a situation like that where all of a sudden it can like go, oh, you're doing this for what? Like a statement that said, and then we take that on. I remember just identifying so much with what you were saying about, the new flash stuff. I was speaking at this event and someone didn't know who I was. I was at the table with these students and his company was something or other fax. And I said, well, what exactly is a fax? Back in the day, there used to be something called the fax machine, but it was brand new. I didn't know what it was. So I asked him that, and I felt like this big the way he responded to me and the way he was kind of down talking the students around the table. And then I was the keynote speaker and I got introduced. Well, his face just went like this. And I thought, you know what? What a good lesson. How you treat anybody is how you treat everybody. And like, it didn't matter if you knew who I was. Like, that was just not a nice way to even address anyone. And how he was speaking to these students. Like, these are young students that are working on getting a job. And I was just like, what a great lesson. Like, I hope that he took that away,
Hmm.
like we're all human. And,
Yes.
like, so I'm tying that into the whole better human experience of you, like this is you founded, you know, better human, which is like, how do we do that without, oh, I just got goosebumps because I can just imagine being in that room and how like the brilliance that you had to be in that room, first of all. And whenever anybody thinks it's okay to push someone down in order to make them feel better, like that's not like I don't know where the fulfillment or the point of that is. So
They're just operating from their unhealed wounding. And so here's one of
100%,
our,
there's that little kid that's in everybody that just wants to be like, I'm better because, but that's not how you do it, right? It's like, yeah.
so
So,
here's the belief behind, behind Better Human. Um, Harmed people, let me say that all over again. Here's what's behind Better Human. Healed people don't harm people.
oh my
Healed,
God.
healed people don't choose abusive partners. Healed people raise healed children. Healed people become healed workers or leaders, and maybe even people who run countries. The
Mm,
problem that we
mm,
see everywhere, all over right now, is everybody in this matrix that we live in is living out their unhealed behavior all the
wow.
time.
Until they pause enough for that millisecond to go,
But most of them don't.
we don't. Because, and I think because it's so fast paced that, and because we also think, I think maybe potentially, that we think it's harder than it needs to be to actually do the thing.
That's a really good point. Let me think about that for a sec.
Because we're told you got to go back and you got to go through all the, understanding what's happening instead of choosing in that moment. Like you
I
said,
love
your
you're
journey.
doing this with your
Yes, I
hands.
know, choosing in that moment, which is why I love that you have an actual physical thing that you're doing with it.
Yeah.
because it grounds even more into our system, right? But it's like we when you were saying I'm working on myself for this year, like yes, it probably took you years to understand and get all these pieces that you kept, unfolding and going, oh wow, oh wow, oh wow, and this is how it works. And in that choice of like that year when you decided to better yourself,
Mhm.
like in that year to consciously shift those things, it doesn't need to
Mhm.
take that long. It can in a
Mhm.
moment when you
Yeah.
have the right tools to do that and
If you
awareness.
have the millisecond first,
Yes.
everything else builds on top of it. So
Yeah.
what we do is we surround people because I could tell you the millisecond, but until you actually experience it in your
Mhm.
life in lots of different colors and ways, you're not
Mhm.
going to get it. So one of the things we do in the app itself, but I've been doing this in my programs for years, because I'm a former Hollywood producer, I
Sure.
use movies in everything that I teach. So when you learn the millisecond technique, for instance, there's a training, but there's also the movie Groundhog Day, because in Groundhog Day, Phil has to make some choices because he's a jerk at the beginning
Yeah.
of the movie, right? And he keeps reliving the day until he figures out choice and figures out how not to be a jerk. But we also give you stuff like, you can't see this, this is phone
Yes.
wallpaper. We give wallpaper to every code so that this one says, I pause before I choose. That's the mantra of the millisecond.
Oh, I
So
love
now
it.
you have the training, you have the phone. Every time you pick up your phone to answer a call, oh, I pause before I choose, right? Or if you're working on the habit framework, it's a whole habit framework is about how to change your emotional state in an instant.
Mm.
And when you have that one on your phone, you're being reminded what the letters in habit stand for and honor how your brain works. Ask if it's true, become choiceful, imagine a better feeling thought and trade the bad feeling for a good feeling. And next thing you know, you're in a different emotional state, but you can't do it day one. You
No,
got to
it repetition's the mother of skill. Like it's taken a while to get there. So what I'm saying, like, yeah, it can be faster, but it's like what environment are we putting ourselves in order to do that repeatedly? We will
Yeah.
have we'll have all the info here for your app. And if there's a special something we do for our people that hear you
Yeah.
here, we'll have that in there too. But that's
Perfect.
brilliant. I love it.
Thank
So
you.
good.
We're in pre-seed right now, so it is founder funded for now, and we're raising a safe, and it's our prototype is done, and it's super exciting, and we hope to be live middle to end of summer.
Okay,
And
so cool.
we're right now crowdfunding for people who are not qualified investors to actually get in early,
So cool.
and yeah, and then we're doing a waiting list, and it's just I think what happens when you get to do this work in a lifetime is the first thing is you learn that everything is either a lesson, a story, or both.
Mm,
Everything that
yes.
happens.
Yes.
And if you can learn that it's a lesson, a story, or both, nothing harms you.
A lesson, a story, or both. Boy, if that's one takeaway and you pause for the millisecond to go, a lesson, a story, or both.
That's
I can
right.
use this when I move through this.
Yeah,
Use this when
exactly.
I
And
move
so
through this. Yeah.
now you understand exactly how the codes work. Everything starts with a millisecond, and then the other codes are built on top of it, right?
Very
So
good.
you are rewiring the neural pathways in your brain by giving yourself a different way of seeing and focusing.
Yeah.
And so
So good.
we see massive change when people get good at these things.
Yeah. And that is key to when we give ourselves grace and time to get good at those things over time. Like I was saying, repetition's some other skill. Like I didn't get to the Olympics by like going to the pool once. It was like over time and getting past tons of fears and like stretching and then, figuring that out like for 13 years. Like it took a long time, but it's
And
like,
I remember you. That's
oh
the
my
funny
God.
thing. Like that should be a whole separate discussion, but I remember watching you.
It's insane. It's an insane sport, and you're not breathing. And it's like, like if you can deprive yourself. But I'm just saying, like that repetition. So, what are we unconsciously even repeating to ourselves I'm going to millisecond through this whole thing, is like until we pause and going, wow, where did that come from? What can I do to change that? And how can I do it consistently? And it's those little things over time. Like it's not some massive thing, but those stack up and they can move us way faster than what we think they can. But it's like
Yeah.
finding the right things. Um, I was just reminded of I had one of my brothers say to me years ago, actually, an early boyfriend I was going out with, and he goes, Michelle, there are fountains and there are drains. And I thought, oh my God, what a good metaphor for life. Like, so with what we're talking about, even if you take a millisecond to go, is this a fountain or a drain for me right now? And
That's the energy, right?
yes, yes, what do I get to choose in this moment? So, so powerful. So
Yeah.
many amazing tools. So, okay, I was reading something on your site. You said, but what if freedom has nothing to do with achievement and everything to do with how you feel inside your own life? Oh my God, I love that. I just got goosebumps when I read that again. Has everything to do how you feel inside your own life. Uh,
Yes.
That's huge
Yeah.
because
I would say if I were to describe my work
mhm.
in its simplest terms, that some people will get right away and some people will go, huh, what does that mean? Is that we are all inside of a system that was built. Now,
Mm,
no one person intentionally built it this way, so it benefits certain groups of people over other groups of people. Certain people at the founding, especially of my country, had more rights to vote than other people. You're watching it in my country right now as the rights of certain people for voting are being taken away. Like there's a system at play.
mhm.
And we have all unconsciously agreed to be part of this system. And the movie The Matrix, which is every New Year's Eve day, I watch all four Matrix movies back to back to back every year.
Wow.
And it's because I want to start my life that year in full consciousness. It's a prep for me. And the thing about The Matrix is that it's hard to see. You don't realize that you're participating in it. And so true freedom,
You're in it. That's why we can't see
you're in
from the
it.
inside. And it's been
You're the
so
fish.
long, it's just so you don't question, you're in it, right?
You're the fish that's swimming
Yeah.
in the water, but a lot of people still don't get that metaphor. So let me give you another one to help explain the matrix. So about 10 years ago, I rebuilt my kitchen. And I'm an architect and I'm a designer and I love to design stuff. And so I'm designing my kitchen to be exactly the way I want it to be. Now, I will be honest with you and tell you I don't really cook. I'm more of an assembler. And so
We have so
I
many commonalities. It's awesome.
I used to be a swimmer, by the way, and then I was a diver.
Oh, wow. Okay, so you really get it, that chlorine,
Oh
like,
yeah, I like it when I
oh.
said I watched you, I really watched you. It's fun. We should talk about that on another day.
Yes.
So in my kitchen, when I'm designing it to work for me, I put the spices in a certain place. I put the cutlery in a certain place. I put the napkins in a certain place. I put the spatulas in a certain place. I put the dishes in a certain place. I did it. Now, say, Michelle, you were to come over to my house and you're like, Suzanne, I want to cook you a meal. So you're standing in my kitchen and you're like, let me open this drawer and try to find the silverware. I want to find a fork. And you might open 5 drawers. And you're like, Suzanne, the fork should be right here. Not for me. My forks are over there. Well, why? Because I like people to belly up to the bar and I just want to give them their silverware. That's what I imagined when I built my kitchen. Yeah, but really, your forks should be over by where the plates are so you can, right? We could argue forever about my kitchen, but my kitchen is a matrix I built for me.
Mm,
And the people who established Western society, they didn't do it specifically because they wanted to harm people or hurt people. They did it because they were designing their own kitchen.
mm,
And this kitchen, this society, this Western culture we live in, which is driven by individual achievement, competition, and the importance of success, money, and power, that's the kitchen that was designed for us to live in.
mm.
How do you feel about cooking in that kitchen?
Yeah, like that's crazy that when you stop and look at it going, oh, this isn't comfortable here. And why? Like, why does it need to be that way? Like, it's like, and not being afraid to have the voice of what feels good to you, or
Yeah.
even the time to reflect of what do I really want or how does that feel? Right. So, being able to back up a little bit and it's not all an end result sort of thing either. Like, it's not when you were talking about nothing to do with achievement, which is interesting coming from a sport background. You think achieving, it's like winning, it's like all those things. But what if it was about who we become more in that
Mhm.
journey instead of that's why I have a saying that I say, like, being a champion is not about being the best in the world. It's about being the best we can be and being real in the process. So what's
Mm.
true for us, it's like instead of fitting what we think is like, and then there's an expectation that is set on that too. And whose expectation is that? Like, just because you did something here doesn't mean you're gonna like carry that over there and be the best at that. Like, that is such an unreal expectation instead of like the getting back to playing and finding out what you really like, right? Like,
Have you
what are
ever
the things
read
you
the
like?
Four Agreements?
Yes, years ago. I think I actually have it here somewhere.
One of my favorite things about the Four Agreements, and if you guys have not read it, it's by a guy named Don Miguel Ruiz. And,
Yes, yes.
there are just four very simple agreements. This is Toltec history. It's really like story-based learning. And I think it's the third agreement. It says, be your best. Don't be more than your best. And don't be less than your best. And I remember reading that and thinking, oh my God, my overachieving self has tried to outbest everything my whole life. And if it's called the best, how can you actually go for something higher than the best? Because
Mm.
then wouldn't that be the best?
And
So
where does
we're
it stop?
exactly, we've
And so
been
that fulfillment
striving.
is sucked out of it too. That joy and fulfillment, because that's always proving, striving, proving, striving, proving, and there's not the joy. That's why I'm going to tie it back to what I read on your site was if everything to do on how you feel inside of your own life. Like, how does this feel? Keep checking in, so yeah, so powerful. Oh my God, we could like talk for 3 hours here. I know.
Yeah, it'd be fun. We should do it.
I know we could totally do it.
Come
Um,
on down from Calgary.
I'll come visit you. Okay, I loved Boston when I went to Boston. I'm like, there's something magical about Boston. It was so cool. I was only there 4 days, but absolutely amazing. I know we're going to meet again. I know that we'll have much more to share and talk about. I know like so many gems, so many lessons. What do you want? What do you really want people to walk away with today? Like, what is if they can take one, maybe three things away?
I was like, does it have to be one?
No, let's say three. I know I'm just like, because we get to play. We've played a lot. So,
Yeah. All
what
right.
are,
So let me say the first thing that I think is really important. And I'm living this right now. So I want everybody to understand like, I'm creating new codes all the time. I get in the bathtub every morning and talk to the universe for an hour every day. And like, this is
what?
where some of the codes come through. And the one that I've discovered recently, I was pulling down hundreds of transcripts of programs I've taught for me to analyze in AI to come up with my code list. It's way longer than 125, but right now I'm comfortable saying 125. And then I'm going to produce all of those for the new apps. But I was pulling down the codes and I saw a code I'd forgotten I'd created. And it's called the Languid Hustle. And it's so funny I ran into it because I've just started this new business. I'm raising money. I've just hired teams. I'm doing all this stuff, building an app. I'm doing the software architecture myself. And got into that mode of the old version of masculine energy hustle culture. And I said, no, I teach feminine energetics. There's no way I'm building this company. And I luckily ran into this code that I named called the Languid Hustle. So what is languid? It's like a lazy river, right?
Mm.
So what if I build this business from a languid hustle instead of a hyperactive, competitive hustle culture?
Ooh, I love that because that feeling is gonna come out of that app too. Isn't that like where we are when we're creating something is the energy we put out, it's the environment we create, the energy we're putting into it. I love that perspective. Like, I appreciate you sharing that because I get to keep coming back to that because I keep going in that push, push, push place and just going like, even my husband said, like, sometimes you need to sit back and let it flow. Like,
Yeah, well, that's
let it
what
go.
feminine energy is, right? Is
Yeah.
the allowing. Because if we're always doing and we're not ever giving space, there is
Mhm.
no receiving. And the receiving happens in the feminine.
Mm.
So we
Oh, wow.
really need to be in the dance of the masculine and the feminine. In fact, money making, by the way, money making is made in the masculine. Money receiving happens in the feminine.
Okay, sorry. I know we were going to wrap this, and there's no way because you just hit something so big when you say the money receiving's in the feminine. In saying that, why? I don't know if that's the right way to say it. Would you say so many women have a hard time receiving?
Because they grew up in the matrix.
Okay.
Now, when women came back into the workforce, you and I are similarly
Yeah, I think we're the same vintage. We might even be the
same
same
vintage.
year.
That's the word I was looking for. The same vintage.
Yeah.
Um, when we were growing up, we were told this is the way you do stuff.
Yeah.
We were swimming in the overachievement. In fact, when I got to Hollywood, my boss, who was from LA, he said to me, Suzanne, stop being an overachiever. And it took me 3 years to realize he was insulting me because overachievement was the definition of success that I came from.
Mm. Mm.
To this
Wow.
day, to this day, my family loves the concept of overachieving. And I'm like, achieving is the achievement. If you overachieve, what are you going for?
Yeah.
So this languid hustle idea is the idea that all of this self-imposed pressure comes from a world where we value competition over collaboration. We
Oh,
value individual achievement over cooperation. And so when we start to break those molds, when we start to lead from the feminine, I'll tell you, I had a team meeting today. And I said to them, everybody was feeling a little bit pressured. And I said, guys, there's no pressure. We're building in a languid hustle. All timing is our choice. So let's not put
oh,
dates together that don't make sense.
that's so good. And I that you touched on competition instead of collaboration because people look at, okay, you're an athlete, you're a competitor. I love, love, love collaboration. That's why I do what I do. That's why I share stories of like I like it's like inspiring, sharing the stories of inspiration is like an ultimate collaboration of learning what people are doing and helping get
Yeah,
that work out in the world. Like I don't have to have all the answers, but to me, it's like elevating the people, ideas, and things that are going to make a difference. Like it's so much more fulfilling to come from a place of collaboration as opposed to competition and let go of
it
that
sure is.
comparisitis or that pressure that comes from it. So I'm glad you brought that up because I do think there's a shift towards collaboration and we get to consciously choose that
Yeah,
because there's when
absolutely.
there's abundance when we do that. So back to that feminine energy is that receiving, like the more we can be open to the possibilities, open to collaboration, open to abundance in every form coming our way, which is so big.
Yeah. And that's the whole answer, right? That is it. And we're constantly, can I share one more code? Because
Yes,
I think it will
please.
wrap this beautifully.
Yeah.
So I teach a code called playing volleyball with the universe. And
Oh my
it's
God.
fun because your kids play volleyball.
And my husband was in two Olympics for volleyball and a late bloomer, so that's
Oh
crazy.
my God, that's
I
hilarious.
love that sport. I love, okay, I can't wait to
Okay,
hear this code.
it's a good code. So I want you to imagine you're in a constant volleyball match with the universe. I throw the volleyball up, the universe throws it back to me. We're in a constant volleyball game. And if I throw up a volleyball, I collect crystals, like this kind of crystal. I have huge crystals all over my house. I love it. That's selenite. I love selenite.
Oh yeah.
Um, if I throw up a volleyball and it's crystal volleyball, it's crystal encrusted, it's beautiful. And I throw it up to the universe and I'm like, I'm so happy. Like, let's do more happy things. Let's do more positive things. Let's change the world. Let's see who we can become in the process of this. There's a little gnat that has decided to be in my face while I'm talking this story.
Oh, I thought
So
you were swinging at the volleyball.
no, I wish that was actually at a gnat.
That's so funny.
So I take my crystal encrusted volleyball and I throw it out. Now, what's the universe's job? The universe never goes first. We go first. The universe follows us. We set the direction. The universe backs us up. So I throw up this crystal encrusted volleyball. All the universe does is look at it and go, she loves crystal encrusted volleyballs, AKA whatever I asked for in the positive way. It throws me back a crystal encrusted volleyball. I catch it. I'm like, oh, great. Let's go do more of that. Right? But if I throw up a crystal encrusted volleyball that's actually filled with shit, all of my sadness, all of my worry, all of my anticipation of doom, all of my anxiety, all of the stuff, if it's all in there, and I'll give you a story of how this happened to me, and I throw it up. And in my case, I used to say, please don't give me another toxic man. The universe's job is only to reflect, and
Wow.
it doesn't understand the word don't.
Mm-hmm.
So it would throw at me toxic man after toxic man after toxic man. And here's the thing, if you take a crystal encrusted volleyball that's full of shit and the universe whacks you back with it, it's going to crack open. And guess what happens? You're going to be covered in poo. So we've got to be really careful what we're playing volleyball with, how we're manifesting our lives. This is what you put out as the environment you create. How you put that out there to the universe is how we change our circumstances. And once I learned to do that, even when I was in my deepest, darkest place, I could help get myself to a better place through that.
So good. That I love that analogy with the ball. That's a perfect because it's gonna like it's the law. It's the law of gravity. It's the law of whatever that it's gonna
We're
come
all
back.
reciprocity.
Reciprocity, everything, right? And so again, repetition's the mother of skill. If we take that millisecond to go, what am I actually putting up? Like, I don't want this. I don't like, I hate this part, blah, blah, blah. I feel awful, blah, blah, blah. You're putting that out. That's a big lesson to learn that we get to learn. I feel like I learn it over and over, depending on how drained I am, because when we're tired and exhausted and whatever, our ability to catch that and like take that millisecond to kind of what am I choosing in this moment? So if that's one gift, which there's many gifts that everyone's taken away from today, that's one, just like understand that's actually what happens. That's
Yeah.
actually what happens. So being very careful, or not even careful, because I don't want to come from a place of fear or carefulness, but it's like aware of what we're
It's
putting out.
intentionality.
Intentionality. I love that. Oh my gosh. Okay. I can't even believe how fast this time went by. It has been so much fun hanging out with
It's
you,
been a blast.
Suzanne. Okay. So I always love finishing. Oh, and I did say you could do three. So you did two. Is there one last one? Okay.
I would say millisecond, playing volleyball with the universe, and the languid hustle.
Okay. I love it. So good. Okay. So now the last questions that I always love asking is what would you tell your 12-year-old self?
Ugh. I was actually on a call earlier today and someone was interviewing me for a book they're writing, and she asked a very similar question. And my answer remains the same. I wish someone had told me that I was going to be okay no matter what.
Mm, wow. So powerful. And now you look at that little 12-year-old girl and she's looking at you now. What would she say looking at you now?
You'd say, wow, you're okay no matter what.
I love it. That is so good. Oh my goodness, my friend Suzanne, this was awesome. I know my brain's going. I'm like, I think we should do a fun workshop. There's so many things we could do, have so much fun. Just thank you for being
Oh my
here.
God, it was a blast and so much fun. And I feel like we should have another conversation at some point that isn't a podcast just to like get to know each other better,
Even
because
more.
clearly there's some stuff going in there, and we're building community, and so yay.
Yeah, so good. Well, and on that note, this is what this podcast is all about, inspiring possibilities, the courage to jump in and really real connections that are making a difference, having real conversations that matter. So thank you for the gift of you. I'm going to have all your stuff here and I'll put a thing on the app that's coming, which is a beautiful essence of who you are with the engineer and the creativity coming together to make an impact, to make this world a better place by being that human that we get to be. So
A
good.
better human.
A better human. We all get that opportunity. So thank you, my friend.
Thank you so much. This was an absolute pleasure, and it was so fun speaking with you.
What a beautiful conversation with Suzanne. We could have visited for hours. And if this episode resonated with you as well, I encourage you to connect with Suzanne and explore her work around Energy OS, Better Human, and Feminine Leadership. You'll find all of her links in the show notes below. And before you go, I want to share one of the most powerful tools I've personally been using, my Inspiring Possibilities Ignite the True Champion Within session. It's a powerful 3-minute reset, all based on neuroscience, designed to help regulate your nervous system, lower stress, and reconnect with that calm, confidence, clarity, and possibility. You'll receive lifetime access completely free, along with a complimentary 2-week trial to the full Positive Prime platform. Because when the body feels safe, momentum follows. You'll find all the links in the show notes below. And remember, you never know what's possible until you have the courage to jump in.